In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a resin riverboard with Art & Glow's casting and coating epoxy resin. First thing you have to do is figure out your mold situation. You can buy deep pore silicone molds made for projects like this, but here I am making a reusable mold made of HDPE material, which resin will not stick to. Once I've built my mold, I silicone the seams to prevent any resin from leaking out, and I also weigh down my wood. Now that we're ready to go, we can mix up our resin and hardener in a 1-to-1 ratio. Always make sure to mix thoroughly. I do it for at least 5 minutes. Putting the weights down on your wood for the first initial pour is very important because once you pour that resin in between the boards of your mold, it will try to seep underneath the wood and get the wood to float up. So keep those weighed down for the first layer. I added some slate gray alcohol ink to my resin for the initial pour. I did this because the theme I'm going for is very woodsy, so I figured this would give it more of a realistic look. Once that first layer was cured, I was able to take my weights off. Now for this layer, I added a little bit less alcohol ink, and once we torch all those bubbles out, it is time to lay down our embellishments. Now you can get as creative as you want here. I decided to use a lot of preserved nature that I have found and kept over time. Now once you lay down all of your items, you let that cure overnight, then you can go ahead and keep adding those layers of resin, letting it cure in between each layer. Use caution when you're torching in between each layer, especially if you have things like ferns and flowers, because the flame can burn those things that are already cured into your piece. That is when your heat gun will come very handy because it uses heat rather than flame. Now that your piece is fully cured, it is time to demold your masterpiece. Upon doing this, your piece is going to look pretty rough, and that is when all the fun sanding will take place. A lot of expert woodworkers will have a table planer or a router table, but I don't have either one of those things, so I'm going to sand this by hand, and we'll show you every step of the way. Starting from the smallest grit and working your way up is essential for getting the most clarity out of your resin riverboard. Once you've worked your way up to about a 2000 grit, it is time to polish your piece. Repeat the polishing technique to get your desired clarity. All that elbow grease will pay off, I promise. Once you've polished to perfection, go ahead and oil it up. And there you have it, your very own handmade resin riverboard made by you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and then scroll down to find a link to a detailed guide of this project.